I still remember how to work a camera. No, I'm kidding. What's up, guys? I know it's been a very long time. I'm hoping this can be sort of my catch-up video, and then I can get right back into it. A lot has been going on over the past couple months. So I guess I could just go ahead and start by explaining that, and then towards the end of the movie, or towards the end of the video, I'm going to go ahead and get into the movies that I've been seeing over this whole past couple of weeks that have been going on. So let me just start by saying I've gone on vacation twice. There was the week I went to California back in late June. That was a blast. I got to go out. I was with my girlfriend, just meeting out with her family and everything like that. We went to Disneyland. We went around LA. Like, we had a blast. In that time, I did see 2 movies, so that'll be kind of a couple that I'd talk on. I'm really not going to go into a lot of detail like I would with a normal review, just because there's so many that I've actually seen over this amount of time. But I can still touch on them a little bit. When I got back from Cali, I moved into a new place. As you can see, this will be a pretty permanent setup for a little while. I just now put up these posters behind me. I've been having them for a while. I just haven't gotten the chance to get them. But this is a new one from when I was in Cali. I really love it. I tried to find like an original Alien one, but I think this one's pretty colorful and looks good. I'll have to do like a whole tour thing. This is not going to be my permanent setup, I don't think. But if it ends up being this, I want to have all my posters over here. Make it look good. Okay, there was that. I also moved in. Still kind of in that process of moving in, so you gotta bear with me. I don't even have internet until Friday this week, so that may be when this uploads, but hopefully I can get it up sooner. So that was the first vacation, and then moving in, and then not too long ago, I actually just got back from Florida. I was only out there for about half a week. It wasn't too long, but I had a lot of fun. That was just me and my family going to a reunion of sorts, and we were out on the beach and stuff like that. So I had a lot of fun with that one. And that's really, as far as just catching up, that's pretty much it that I can think of off the top of my head. I also started serving at my job. At my actual day job, I was just sort of a busboy of sorts, but I quickly, once I got back from California, I just quickly decided that I need to be making money faster in order to sort of get my life started. So I decided to go ahead and become a server. I'm still doing that at the moment. So it's kind of like, when I find the days that I can go see a movie and come back and talk to you guys, I'm going to be able to do that. Hopefully on a very continuous schedule. If not, it is what it is. I'll get to the movies when I can. This is not making me money, so I just want to be here to, entertain you guys and get to talk about the things I love, which are movies. But yeah, that's it. That's really all that I've been up to as far as my own personal life and what's been going on. The only thing coming up is my birthday, which I'll be turning 20 on the 30th. So there's that. But, I only took a weekend off for that, and that's more like, I can still film something in that time. It's just, I took off work for that. But with that out of the way, I guess I can go ahead and talk about all the movies I got to see. The 2 movies I saw when I was in California were Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll go ahead and talk about that just a bit, and All Eyes on Me. With Pirates of the Caribbean, honestly, I had no expectations going into it. The only Pirates movies I've liked thus far are the first 2, like everyone else. I do think the second one is actually better than the first, but in my humble opinion, I just felt like there was a lot going on in a good sense. Like, the set pieces are really what you go to those movies for, not so much like, the characters and all that. Even if people do love Jack Sparrow, he can get a little grating, but in the second movie, he wasn't the main focus. It ended up being, Will Turner and Elizabeth were still in it, so that was a good plus. The third movie is the only one I saw. After that, I wanted to continue it and see the third one, but I did not like the third one at all. It was just boring from what I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it didn't grab me like the other 2 did. The fourth one I tried watching right before seeing this, My girlfriend at her house, they had it on Blu-ray, so I was like, all right, well, let me go and watch it. I didn't even make it past the 40-minute mark. I was so damn bored. It was, what a waste. And really, I've watched several videos about, Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and a lot of what people agree on unanimously, I think it's a good point, is keep Jack as a side character. Don't make him the main focus, because then that's when the film just gets too silly, and just he's not a character to focus on. He's always, that's like, I know Star Wars is doing all these spin-off movies and everything. We don't need one to C-3PO and R2-D2. Like, I think the beginning of A New Hope was enough. That's all we need of just those characters by themselves. That would be the whole movie. Like, that's fine. Those scenes like that with Jack Sparrow, and they have plenty in these movies, those are fine. So that's it for the first few. This one, I actually liked. And I was surprised that I liked it, having, it could go either way. I either really love it or I really hate it. This one, it was pretty good. I will say, again, Jack really shouldn't be the focus, but in this one, they play him almost completely for laughs. He's just the comedic relief, and, Johnny Depp gets a check. But, we're really here just for, the story's more about, Will Turner. He was cursed in the third movie, of course, and he actually does end up having a son from Elizabeth Swann, which I guess she's Elizabeth Turner now. So that son, even from a young age, was focused on getting his dad free of his curse, and that's basically what his only like really motivation as a character. He's really, I don't want to say he's bad. He's just there. That's it. Even more like I felt like Will Turner was always more involved in the plot than people gave him credit for. But yeah, this character, he was not the best, and the same could be said for his female counterpart. Again, her name is slipping my mind right now, and the only thing that she had, as far as why she was in the group, was just she was smart and people mistaked her for a witch. That was it. And those two characters, honestly, I hate saying we could have done without them, because they were the only thing that was really advancing the plot. They were the only people that wanted to get stuff done that I can remember off the top of my head right now. Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, they're not in the movie much. Will Turner's towards the beginning, and then they're both together towards the end. Kind of a spoiler, but the movie's been out for a long time. But really what, drove the movie towards me liking it was just, again, the set pieces, the action set pieces, and all the stuff they had going on with the action. Some of these visuals are actually pretty good. Towards the end, there's actually a moment where they part the sea, and it kind of looks like Moses, and you see everything moving through it. And I don't care how many times I see that visual, it's always going to be kind of cool. But so there's that, and then there's this big action set piece when we get introduced to Jack yet again. It's kind of like a bank heist that they're trying to pull off, him and his crew, and they're losing faith in him. So this is kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back. They end up leaving him or whatever, and it's a big action set piece where they end up trying to steal the vault that's inside of this building, but they end up towing the entire building itself, kind of in a funny way. But it looks really cool, and it's practical. I can look at that and I can tell that it's mainly practical, and that's good. Especially in this day and age where, you can have a moment with the parting the sea thing, but then you could also have a set piece like that. I think that's pretty impressive. It's no big reveal that these movies take a lot to make, especially the Pirates movies. And it's cool that Disney's still trusting in these directors to take those on. And this movie made quite a bit of money on Memorial Day weekend, which is good. That's not when I saw it. Again, it was late June. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that movie. I thought it was pretty solid. I don't see myself really going out to see it again. But for the time being, I was entertained, and I was glad that I could see it. Okay. I don't know how much camera time I have left, but I'll try to wrap this up as quick as I can. All Eyes on Me. I am a big rap fan. And, with being a rap fan, I'm a big Tupac fan. He is, in a lot of people's top 5, he is one of the greatest rappers to ever do it, to have ever lived, in a time where rap was just getting its traction together, he was what we needed to push the envelope. And aside from his rap, him as a public figure, he was just so complex. He was very, I don't want to say contradicting, but he was just complex, and he had his way of looking at things in life and his way of conveying what he's feeling at a moment. Anything he talked about, he had a lot of passion. You just watch some of his interviews, you see that, and it's like he's an inspiration. He really is an idol after watching a lot of that stuff. But he is not an easy person to make a movie about. At least the way that it's done in this movie, it's just the storytelling. The storytelling structure is his prison interviews, which you can find on YouTube. It's about like 40 minutes long, but that's the main structure. Any of his fans are going to be pretty familiar with, he did an interview when he was in prison and all that good stuff. But so that's the basic structure of how they're telling the story, and it's just him going through his life. And I'd have to rewatch it, but I really don't feel like the way that they're asking the questions in order, that's not how that interview really went. It was more just asking about his current life. It wasn't asking like, oh, when you were a kid, your mother was a Black Panther, and then, showing all that. And that's one of the issues I have with this movie. It feels like it needs to go back and tell like his superhero origin as a kid, and how his mother was pregnant with him when she went to jail for her Black Panther association, her gang association. And it's like, we really, at the end of the day, don't need that in order to understand where Tupac will be coming from. At least in the way that's told chronologically. I think it would be a lot better if like they got rid of the entire prison structure that they have for telling the story, and they just went ahead and just showed his career. And if you want to flash back to that point in his childhood when he was just a kid and his mom was talking to him about that, and we get the scene with like the FBI raiding them trying to find his stepfather. That's fine, whatever you want to do, but just like tell it in a way that's more, I don't see where you're going, but you end up connecting things where they need to be connected. So that was a problem. Really, the story structure was the biggest flaw of the movie, and it leaves the movie feeling very underwhelming, and like you don't feel like this is the movie Tupac should be getting. Now, the actor, however, that was a good choice. I read somewhere that he went out for this part for about 2 years, or he at least studied it and he like trained to do it and everything, and it shows. He is Tupac, or as close as we're ever gonna get to a good Tupac. You see scenes where he's reenacting Juice, which, God, I wish I could talk about that movie. I probably will at some point. He's reenacting the movie Juice, which is like Tupac's very first acting role. A lot of people don't know, he did a lot of acting as well. But and you just see him conveying Tupac like in between them loading the camera or whatever. And he's still in character. Like Tupac himself is still in character for the character Bishop in Juice. And yeah, that's a pretty good part. I like that a lot. And then there's also the moments with him performing. Those are pretty seamless, and you almost think that it's him. But yeah, I think the main actor is really what keeps me watching the film. But at the same time, it does drag on. I've seen the movie twice now, and I felt like it dragged more the second time because I knew it was coming up. But I don't see a lot of people having a lot of rewatch value with this. If I hadn't seen it a second time, I wouldn't have thought to go see it again. Or even, I might end up buying it, but at the same time, like, it's hard to support a movie that just, it really doesn't, it doesn't do Tupac justice at the end of the day, and I think that's his biggest downfall, that we should have gotten a better film for who Tupac was and what he represented for the culture at the time. A lot of people still to this day, like I said, I look up to him. I know a lot of other people that look up to him, and a lot of people that were saddened whenever he passed away. And this isn't the film. This isn't the film that I think fans would be deserving of. But that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty standard in that film. Like, you know, oh no, wait, no, there's one more bad. There's two more bad things. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. What were y'all thinking? What? They look nothing like the actors that, or the people they are portraying. You look at a movie like Straight Outta Compton, right? And you see how well they at least got the favorisms. Like, you know, Snoop Dogg, he's got kind of a bony structure in his face, you know. More of a longer face. Dr. Dre, you know, it's hard to describe Dr. Dre, but y'all know what each person looks like. They did not try in this movie. They got like the hair, the clothes, and stuff like that together, but they didn't get the right actors to play these parts. And you know, I understand necessarily not getting the actors that you got from Straight Outta Compton to come back and do this, because they don't have to be in a shared universe. They did that with Biggie, who came in, and I thought that was kind of cool. But even then, he's kind of wasted. There's really no point in having the same actor play it. But these just were not the actors to portray those rappers. And I don't know if it was like, you know, they got permission from each rapper's estate, but it looked rough, especially Snoop, because it sounded like they just dubbed over that actor, because that voice didn't sound right. And I could be wrong about that, but when I went and saw it with different people, they're like, yeah, it sounds dubbed. Like, it doesn't sound like his voice. Even people that don't know about dubbing that much, like about how, you know, in some films people will get dubbed over, they thought it was dubbed. And that's really weird to say, but like, you know, people looked at that person and said, no, that is not Snoop Dogg. It sounds like him, but that is not Snoop Dogg at all. That's a very minor gripe, but at the same time, you know, when you have an actor that looks and sounds just like Tupac, and then you get to those two actors portraying those two rappers, and it's not even close, it really breaks the immersion a lot. And I think, other than that, the casting was fine, but oh god, that really broke me out of it. So okay, for real, I'm done with Straight Outta Compton. See, I'd rather watch that than this. I'm done with All Eyez on Me. That really was, it was very disappointing, to say the least. Those are the only two movies I saw in Cali, but there were a couple more that I saw outside of that. But I'll probably have to take a break real quick and see how much time I got left on the camera. Okay, so I got like 10 minutes left. I can go ahead and finish up. Pretty sure. God dang, I'm trying to remember. I think what I'll end up doing is just talking about some of the more minor movies, and then I'm gonna save Spider-Man: Homecoming for its own video. Even though I'm a week late, I'm 2 weeks late on that movie, but I'm just gonna save it for its own thing. Jesus, what did I see? I do know I saw Baby Driver. That's one movie I did see for sure. Baby Driver, I had a lot of fun with it. You know, I'd seen the previews, I got the basic premise, and I just went into it. And I like doing that with movies. Like, you know, I can watch one trailer, maybe two, and then just go and head into it. Like, it builds a little anticipation to the point where I want to see the movie, but it's not gonna, like, you know, ruin anything for me. I hate when people say, oh, I saw too many trailers, I don't like it. Anyway, Baby Driver. Edgar Wright, I love his Cornetto trilogy. I thought, you know, each one was, I know a lot of people would like kind of pick favorites with this one. If I had to pick one, it would be Shaun of the Dead. You know, I know a lot of people love Hot Fuzz. I think it's fine. And it's the same thing with At World's End, or The World's End, whichever one. Getting the Pirates movies confused. But, you know, I think they're all really good. I do prefer Shaun of the Dead over all of them. And speaking of which, I need to add that to my Blu-ray collection, because I saw it at Best Buy, and I'm like, oh, I asked for it for Christmas, didn't get it. Yeah, definitely, you know, it kind of sucked that he didn't get to direct Ant-Man as well, but, you know, with those 3 movies and Scott Pilgrim added to his filmography, I think he's doing just fine. And this movie's proof. He didn't need to do a Marvel movie in order for people to still come back and see his films. From what I remember, this film did pretty well at the box office. I'm trying to remember at the moment, but so the basic premise is there's this guy named Baby, which may or may not be his real name. You'll have to see it if you haven't seen it already. Go see it. But he was involved in a car accident whenever he was younger, and his both his parents ended up dying, and he had to live in foster care. But the accident after the car crash left his hearing impaired, and he has to constantly listen to music, or else it really starts to mess with his hearing. But yeah, that's all you really get about him, and he's sort of just like, he keeps to himself. He's a little more shy when all this stuff is going on, when Kevin Spacey's orchestrating all the heists and everything. He has his headphones in, he's just sitting back, but he understands everything. He's reading his lips and everything, and he can read off exactly what he said, which is fine. I know a lot of people have had problems with, like, Baby not having that much of a personality, but I understood who he was. You don't have to have an enthusiastic personality in order to understand what the character is and what he represents. And I think everyone else did fine. Of course, you have Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, John Bernthal. He's like in there for the first few minutes and then he's out. And everyone else, I thought they did really good as far as the acting goes. It was all solid, all around. But what you really come to see this movie for is its timing with the soundtrack, which is probably the reason I want to go see it again. I keep telling myself I want to see this movie again because it's so impressive what kind of rhythm this movie has. There's always some kind of song playing in the background from the soundtrack, but it's all timed directly to the beat of each song, respectively. And like when you hear gunshots, it's going with the beat. When you see people walking down the street, it's going with it. His driving goes with it too. It's very carefully constructed, and that's something like I feel like the average audience is gonna take for granted. But oh my god, that's so impressive, and I think it's a wonderful premise for a movie to continue on with it. Especially for me, since I love both the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and those have fantastic soundtracks. This one is no different, but it's an original plot at the same time. There's nothing really like groundbreaking happening in it, but it's an Edgar Wright heist movie, and he knocks it out of the park. There's really not a lot to spoil with this movie, I don't think. It really is just one of those movies you have to go out and experience for yourself. Definitely see it in theaters if you haven't seen it already. I'll probably end up buying it, honestly, because I feel that strongly about it. I felt like I had a real connection towards it. And that's not necessarily like I connected to one specific character. It's just I connected to what it meant for filmmaking and what it meant for just the point that Edgar Wright is at, where he's already made quite a few films that impress people, and this one's no different. Where I rank it around, where I would place it with his movies is probably, at least with the ones I've seen so far, I would put it, I would say this is Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim. I put it right here. This is Baby Driver. And I put Hot Fuzz, World's End, and that's it. I guess you could throw Ant-Man at the bottom because he was like somewhat involved in it, but not all the way. I don't hate Ant-Man, by the way, but it's not the best Marvel movie. So that's pretty much it as far as Baby Driver is concerned, and I really don't know how much time I have left on my camera, so I'm going to go ahead and quit right here, and hopefully in the next video I can talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. Once I make that video, tomorrow is the day I go see War for the Planet of the Apes, which I'm definitely late to, and then hopefully after that movie I can get right back on track, and I can do Dunkirk or Valerian. I want to see both, honestly, but I'm leaning more towards Valerian. But really, it doesn't matter if I see either one. But they're both really good-looking original movies I want to give a try. So that should be up next, whichever one comes first. And until then, this has been Z-Roll Footage. I'm coming back with a vengeance. I don't know where I was going with this. My mouth is really saliva, like there's a lot of spit coming out of it. I've talked for too much. Yeah.